agenda, no takes, and no rules. Social Sessions with Mike Gannotti. And welcome again to another edition of Social Sessions. I'm your host, Michael Gannotti, and today I am joined by a phenomenal guest. I'm very excited. So Beatriz Oliveira, she is from a place that I need to go to because it's actually part of my heritage. I'm a quarter Portuguese. She's from beautiful country of Portugal, and she is the CEO and founder of BindTuning. And if you have not seen BindTuning, you really need to head over to bindtuning.com. She's going to show you some great stuff. They do some phenomenal work, not only with Office 365 as a whole, but some particularly great stuff we're going to talk about today with Microsoft Teams. So Beatriz, welcome.
Well, thank you so much, Michael, for having me. It's a pleasure and an honor joining you.
Well, so Beatriz, you know, these days I've been asking all my guests, we're obviously in the middle of this worldwide pandemic and different people are doing different things to deal with it, and it's affecting them in different ways. First of all, how are you and your family doing in the midst of this?
Well, right now we're actually pretty good. When the pandemic started, it was actually pretty hard for me personally, I can tell you. For the first couple weeks, 3 weeks, I handled very badly with it. It felt to me like it was like the end of the world coming. At least that's how I was feeling. And I felt very entrapped home. So it was hard to cope. But once I got over it, actually things got on track. So I actually think that when this is over, I'll miss these times, you know, when I get to be home with my daughters every day.
Yeah, and your daughters, like we were talking earlier, your daughters are older, so you don't always get to be home with them.
Right. So one is 17, the other is 19. She's already in college.
Yeah.
I don't see her all that often. So right now, having the two of them all the time, it's a privilege. I'm actually happy for that part.
Yeah, no, I hear you. And I think a lot of families feel that way who have kids that are older, getting to spend more time. That's certainly one of the benefits. You know, speaking of everything that's been going on, I know in your work, much like my own, a lot of folks, you know, unfortunately have had impact with jobs and downtime. But for us, it's been just the opposite. And I know for you, in the work that you're doing with BindTuning, you've been extremely busy.
Oh, totally crazy. We were already doing a lot of work in Microsoft Teams for the past year and a half, probably, and investing a lot in that area. But all of a sudden, you go like, you know, a peak. You have this peak of requests and things going on and things happening, and you really have to provide information and assets to your customers because everything is happening. So we moved from having a year totally well planned that we knew exactly which events we were going to attend. We had all our scheduled, you know, everything so lined up, all the stuff that we were going to launch, all the content lined up. Everything was so perfect, even personally, right? So we had vacation scheduled, stuff that was planned, and all of a sudden your life is upside down, totally upside down. Yeah. And you're suddenly going from having this balanced life to working probably 16 hours a day, weekends not being able kind of to distinguish, you know, Mondays from Fridays, weekend from week. It's been quite crazy, yes, and heavy, you know, in terms of the toll that it takes personally, but also exciting, I think, you know. I think these are actually times where you get the opportunity to have a different look at things, a different look at what's coming ahead. So rethinking a bit the business and your customers. So but it's also a big opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly is about opportunity, but you know, when I think about some of the stuff like I know you've been doing a lot of work with teams and templates and stuff, and really helping that remote work scenario. for folks, not just remote work, but also just how Teams extends the workplace and starts to facilitate. I think today you wanted to talk about and show us some of the latest stuff that you've been up to.
Yeah, sure. Let me start by kind of explaining what BindTuning does, probably to those that don't know us. BindTuning has been in this modern workplace area since around 2012. We actually started as a company that was very, very focused on design and branding for SharePoint. So that's kind of our core, right? So that's where we come from. Rethinking experiences, rethinking the user experience. And that is still a big part of what we do. So providing tools, easy tools to make it not only easy for anyone to create these experiences for SharePoint and Office 365, but also affordable. So we try to provide like simple tools, but also make sure that they are accessible to not only big companies, but also to the smaller companies.
Sure.
In the meantime, we started developing a different offering that would allow companies to also create not only beautiful interfaces, but also business critical and business supporting tools for SharePoint. And we developed an extensive gallery of Webparts. And as I said, about a year and a half ago, we started working with Teams. We are bringing the intranet experience right within Teams. And personally, I believe that is the future of the intranet. So the intranet will not be so much focused on SharePoint, but it will definitely start to transition to Microsoft Teams, as Teams is the tool that we use.
Yeah.
All the time, right? So once you start working in the morning, you have Teams on and you never disconnect from Teams. So it's your workplace these days.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where people need more information, more assets, and we're trying to provide that to them. While this pandemic has been lasting, we realized that we needed to help our customers in a different way. Right from the beginning, we were paying a lot of attention to what was going on. We realized that no one was ready for what happened, right? So no one had preparedness plans, no one had procedures, documentation on this. So they actually needed a very, very fast way to provide the largest information possible to the largest number of people within the company. And let me actually start sharing my screen with you so that I can.
While you're doing that, just one thing, that I think is awesome, that I don't know if our users or our viewers will connect, but you talked about how you did a ton of work with SharePoint and Webparts. And as they've unified now kind of those tab apps and the ability to pull SharePoint Webparts natively and brought some of that together on that back end, that means all that work that you've done, and I know you're going to show some of this, it transitions right over, which is awesome.
Exactly. So it did, and it proved to be very, very important for our customers.
Sure.
They need more in Teams than just chats and meetings, right? Yeah. So they need to be able to provide collaboration tools and real communication assets. So that's what we're bringing into Teams. And as I said, in the beginning of the pandemic, we realized that companies weren't ready. They needed information to be provided to their employees very, very fast. So what we did late February, we developed, and this is just an article that was released in the beginning of March, explaining how they could take advantage of Teams to provide and to create a preparedness kit to be shared in the company. And I can quickly share with you what the kit looks like. So it's this team here. It has 4 different channels. One is more related to information and statistics. So this is always up to date right within Teams. It has different tabs. In this case, also this one that is kind of prepared to display news from different RSS feeds. And these are all filtered by the coronavirus topic. It would be really nice if it was showing it, but it must be something related to the internet connection. But it does display the news, so I'll not wait. And there's a Twitter feed also displaying corona numbers. Then there is this channel that is very focused on the preparedness plan itself. Gotcha. And this is supposed to be changed by company. So here they're able to share their internal policies. So and these are document areas. They can also share with the company the meetings that are about to happen in the scope of the pandemic outbreak. And if they have, for example, training plans, they can also share it here. There is an area that is dedicated to knowing who the people within the company are responsible for managing the outbreak. So there's all sorts of information. Then we curated content related, for example, to how people should prevent their exposure to the disease, how they can protect themselves. And we curated a lot of videos, a lot of information, flyers. And there was also a section related more to travel advice. And actually, it's interesting that this particular template, it raised the interest of a lot of our partners. Yeah. And we had partners from different areas in the globe that wanted to localize these templates because it's not the same having global information when at local level what you want to see is your local numbers, right, what your healthcare area within the government is saying that you should do. So what are the local guidelines? And all that has to be also easily accessible. And we had partners from Brazil to Australia to Italy to the UK and more, customizing this template to the local assets and also to the local language. I have here the example from Brazil, for example, where you will be able to see that the structure is pretty much the same, although you probably don't understand it, but the content is similar, although it's displaying real local information. And this should be pulling, for example, the Brazilian statistics with local Brazilian government information. And all this is made available within the BindTuning website right now. And these templates are free, so customers can just register at BindTuning, log into our application, and deploy these templates in just a few minutes. Oh, and wow. This was the kind of the beginning of our approach to this pandemic phase. Kind of a couple of weeks down the road, or maybe 3 weeks down the road, we started realizing that not only companies were facing this problem with how can we pull information to our employees fast, but also we started realizing, and within our company, that people and individual people, when put working remotely from home, and especially the ones that were not used to it. So one thing is when you're actually used to working remotely, but when you're forced to work remotely and you kind of break your routines, a lot of things happen, right? Yep. And we started having people with physical problems like, okay, my neck is hurting, or I have back pain because our workplace at home is not prepared, so we don't have the same ergonomic concerns as we do at the office. Or we have people, for example, that were eating badly and not having time to cook, or even don't knowing how to cook, which is even worse. So how can we not thinking enough that they should exercise? Because when you go to the office, you actually get up every day and then you walk even if it's to your car, or to the train, but you walk, and there is this mobility that suddenly is broken, right? And all these wellness concerns drove us to create a different template for Microsoft Teams. So realized that the Teams could also be an amazing tool to help companies and employees in this situation. So we developed another starter kit, and it's the Wellness Starter Kit. And I can also show you a little bit of the content that's available within the starter kit. For example, and it has 4 different channels, so this information can easily be shared within the team. So ergonomics, fitness, mindfulness, and nutrition. And these address all the main concerns that are affecting people right now. And all the channels have kind of a landing dashboard that will tell you what's going on today. So an interesting video, what's the upcoming, for example, group class that's going to happen within the company. And it's not hard for companies actually to organize group classes for stuff. We already, since we are working remotely, we already did fitness training, like workout sessions all together. We are promoting some mindfulness and meditation sessions. So there is a lot that companies can do. So not only this dashboard, as for example, guidance on how you can, in this case of ergonomics, we are providing guidance on how you can prepare your home space so that it follows basic ergonomic rules. There is also, for example, in this case, a stretching routine that you can follow so that you don't get those back aches or neck aches. So explaining step by step how to do it. And there is the same type of information for fitness, for mindfulness, and for nutrition. For example, here in the mindfulness area, we have an area for guided recordings. We believe that this is not only informational, but these Teams areas, they have to promote group activities, because that's what we're missing from when we are at the office. So promoting sessions in Teams to have joint meditation sessions or joint workout sessions, and then put everything available within Teams so people can also get that information at a later time if they can't join while the entire group is there. And for example, this is a list of guided meditations that were already recorded with the team, and you can actually filter them by the type of kind of goal that you're trying to reach. Okay, like I'm very anxious today, I'm very stressed, or I'm having trouble sleeping, and you have all these assets available. And we also created areas where people can share stuff from their homes. So we believe that maintaining this team spirit and group spirit is very, very important. That is probably one of the hardest things to keep alive within a company, which is this sense of belonging to a team. And we created these areas with photo galleries so that everyone can share, for example, okay, this is my little setup at home for meditating, or in the case of fitness, this is how I work out at home. And we believe that Teams is actually the tool for people to to do these activities, and for companies to promote a normal workplace, even though we are still working remote, and a lot of people are working remote. And as I said, all this is very simple to deploy, and I can quickly show you. So if you go to BindTuning and you sign in, so you will be requested to create an account, a free account with us, and you jump right into our app. And within the app, you have access to all our assets. So, and I can quickly also show, design is where you will have access to the themes that will help you brand your intranet. And you can have your themes, or you can access our base theme gallery where everything can be access the build area where you have all Webparts all available for installation. And then you can access the templates area. And oops, sorry, didn't mean to do this. All right, you can access the templates area, and this is where these kits are available. And if you come here, for example, and you filter by Microsoft Teams, oops, okay, there is a bit of a delay here. Okay, so if you filter by Teams, you will find all the starter kits available. Let's say that you want to deploy the employee wellness starter kit. You just click more details. There is a one-click install button. And this is quite simple. You only have to provide your Office 365 email. Obviously, you will log in after. And you just provide a name to your team, a description. And this takes about 15 minutes to create a full team with all the channels, all the tabs, all the content available. So it's really quite simple to use, and not only for Teams but also for Office 365. So we have templates available for pretty much every industry, every scenario. I think that we have over 40 templates at this point. Probably over 50 templates at this point for different industries and different scopes and scenarios. So it shouldn't be hard to start. Working with Office 365 or working with Teams these days, it's literally a matter of minutes, okay, to having a working scenario right within your reach. So this is a lot of what we've been doing in the past months.
Yeah, I mean, that's great. And I'm just looking at some of what you showed, not only as I looked at, like, for example, the COVID template, and it just brought to mind that something that you said, a lot of companies were unprepared for business continuity, right? And so moving forward out of COVID, for example, all those things around developing true business continuity and continuity plans, et cetera, and having a place to centralize and make that available, that doesn't go away, right? That still continues. And even with the activities you're showing with the wellness kit, again, as we move into, this post-COVID world eventually, there's still a need for, as people are working increasingly remote. I think about my team that I'm with. I had my team meeting right before this, and none of us are physically co-located. So there is no office to go to. We're in many states here in the United States, right?
Yeah, but it's funny that, and I've been talking to different business leaders, and it's interesting to see that this COVID phase is kind of teaching us a different way to live. And it's not just the fact that right now we have to be working from home and then we don't have to, but a lot of people realize that for the employees, a lot of, and probably most of the time, it's cheaper to work from home because you save a lot of time, right? So you don't have to spend an hour in the morning, an hour at the end of the day. You can actually use that time to way more interesting things like working out, being with your children, grooming your pets, whatever, right? Reading a book. So you actually have more time. And for companies, and I see that myself in my company, I think that people actually have been more dedicated to making it work and to the company eventually than they were before. So this will have companies rethink their ways of working. I think that nothing will ever be exactly as it was before. So we will definitely learn new ways to work, and Teams is such an important part of that. So I don't think that this will go away in a post-COVID phase. I think it's definitely here to stay. We will be using Teams more and more. There's no need for us to go in person to certain meetings or in certain situations where in the past we would, but probably right now we realize that we can do the same type of work with the same just by using this amazing tool. So we want to make sure that we provide enough content, enough assets for companies that eventually that need to be fast in deploying these scenarios. So we're creating as many assets as possible to help them in this task. The post-COVID world is not a world where everything goes back to how it was before. So it will be different. We don't know exactly how different. We don't know exactly how much we will go back to a previous stage, or how much of it we will just now learn to do different. We want to make sure that we as a company are prepared to help our customers in that challenge. And that's where we're focusing our efforts these days.
Yeah, and I think it's great. I mean, I look at all the work you've done, and again, leveraging a lot of the work that was done prior in SharePoint, bringing that over, and you continue to do in SharePoint, but also bringing those things over, bringing it into Teams, I think is key. And then this idea that by, you're creating these rich baseline scenarios and templates that, a lot of companies either don't have the expertise to do it themselves, right? Or they slash, it's also a matter of time, right? And effort. And you've taken so much of that and made it readily accessible for anybody from anything. I'm looking at the screen right now, and I see, on the same screen, I see hotels, I see high schools, and other things that are out there. So that, really there's something for all kinds of organizations to be able to get started, and you're providing it, right?
Yeah. As you said, in terms of expertise, it's actually a challenge. So not every company has enough or even one person that is that knows enough of Teams or of Office 365 to be able to pull up an entire environment ready to go, in a matter of useful time. So it's a big challenge. Right now we're actually deploying we're developing templates for schools, and we are preparing 4 different templates to support schools in this remote learning phase, but also on a post-COVID phase when people are back to school. But still, there are tons of scenarios where we will still be using Microsoft Teams. So and schools are one of those cases where normally there is not a SharePoint expert or a Teams expert within the school to pull this off. So they really need help. They really need help in this area, and they really need easy assets that they can use to deploy these scenarios and to make them available to the entire school community. So this is one of the areas that we're developing right now. Also, I can also tell you that another area that we're heavily investing in and dearly investing in is accessibility. So we actually started this late last year, and it was a big focus for us in the pre-pandemic era. But we didn't stop, so we continued this work, and I'm personally very engaged and dedicated to guaranteeing that there is true diversity in tech. It may have started years ago with thinking about the difference and the underrepresentation of women, but now that there is enough awareness around that topic, and by the way, I can tell you that actually started because I have 2 daughters, and I really felt that the world was not what I wanted for them,
Sure.
and I have 2 geeks. So one of my daughters is studying IT engineering,
Wow.
and the other one is probably going the same way. So I have literally two geeks at home. And I felt that back when they were little, that was not the world, for two young girls that expected to get into a tech business and be looked at equal. But now I think that the world has changed a lot, and in that perspective, I think that we're coming to a world way more diverse. But then another concern arises which is, okay, how do we also include people that have any sort of disability? And I believe that area is not addressed enough, and software especially is not prepared, and most of the times is definitely not prepared to make sure that we're providing the same type of opportunities to these people. And there are more people with limitations than what we think, because when we think about disability, probably we're thinking about a high level of disability, but with lower levels of disability, there are tons and tons of people. Either it is because you're colorblinded, or either it is because you have epilepsy. I have epilepsy, so I can't go to a website and have all the blinking if yes. So
yeah.
I personally relate to this topic and to these issues. Or you can break a hand, and temporarily you are disabled from that hand and not able to control the mouse as you used to. So there are all types of situations where software actually has to be prepared, and be prepared so that people can perform at their best.
Yeah.
And that's what we're trying to do with a tool that we will making available next month. I'm honestly, it's like my a hard project. Okay, I'm really excited about it. I'm super proud about the work that the team has been developing. So I think it's going to be really good and meaningful. Especially this is what's driving the team, is that they're creating such a meaningful tool.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited about that. I know from a Microsoft perspective, we have a big push internally around that.
Yep.
And you're right. There are so many areas that we often don't think of, different folks, and there's various levels of challenges that people have, from an accessibility standpoint. So, the more that can be looked at, the better. So I think that's awesome. So I do have some, as we look, as folks are hearing some of this and they want to follow up, they'd like to, see what you're doing with templates or some other things. What should folks do? Where should they go to get started, to learn more about BindTuning, your offerings, and to engage with you?
Super simple. Okay. So going to bindtuning.com, definitely. So that will get you started. And there is a lot to explore. So in this features area, you will have information about all the areas of the product, either it being design, the build, or our team's offering. You will soon see our accessibility offering here as well. And if you really want to get started, it's just clicking the Get Started button. You will create an account, and that will take you to the app area. And that's where you actually have the templates for installation.
Right.
You can also explore the templates here in the website. So this starter kits option shows you all the list of templates. But if you really want to put your hands into it, and if you really want to start installing stuff, just click the Get Started button and create an account with us. Our YouTube channel also has a lot of different videos to get you a bit more engaged and to show you what others have been doing with our products. So I think it's also an interesting starting point going to our YouTube channel.
So I'll make sure, when we finish up here, to get, certainly this link's easy, bindtuning.com. But for your YouTube channel, we'll get the link from you to put into the post as well, so
Okay.
folks can look below this video and they'll be able to click and see that. Awesome.
Perfect. Okay. Well, thank you so much, Michael.
So
For
yeah,
this opportunity.
any last things that you want to mention, or?
Well, just a positive word. So let's look at the future as a future. That's what we're doing positively. I think that there is more hope and good stuff ahead than anything else. So regardless of what happens today, what matters is what we do with it, and let's do great stuff with it. All the biggest inventions, all the greatest things have come from hard times. And I think that this is one of those times. Let's take this moment, let's take this time to build amazing things and to make sure that we have a very, very good future ahead of us.
Awesome. And like you said, necessity is the mother of all inventions.
Yeah.
So, you
Definitely.
know, certainly you've been doing that, and so many others. So thank you very much for joining me today. I hope our viewers have enjoyed this. Again, you can check out BindTuning and Beatriz and all the great work her and her folks are doing at bindtuning.com. And we'll have the links down below. So get started. And this, I just want to throw out and say, you know, you started in 2012, and I've been recommending BindTuning forever. They're just great folks, do great work. So take a look, do yourself a favor. With that, this is Mike Gannotti with Beatriz.
Oh, Beatriz.
Bidding everyone.
Beatriz. Thank you.
Have
Bye-bye.
a great day. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye now.